All right, guys, welcome back to LittleLee and Rose. My name is Summer Noel, and we're going to do a super duper rad cup. This is going to be the California Fault Line. I did this one in the Facebook group the other day live, and everybody absolutely loved it. So I thought I would do a quick tutorial on it here. It really doesn't take a lot of supplies. The most tricky, difficult one is going to be the gold leafing. This is gold leafing that we put out in swag a few months ago. So you may have been a lucky member of our swag group then and gotten this in your swag bag. And this is one of the things, this is a fun craft you can do with it. I'm going to make an aqua colored one. We're also going to be doing a purple one kind of side by side off camera. And then at the end, I'll bring it in and show you the difference and show you the different colors. So I'm going to be using turquoise and pistachio from the, it looks like the Ranger collection. And then from our glitter collection, we've got Beau for the fine. He's a fine opalescent, and we've got Joshua. He is our shattered collection. If you don't have Joshua or Beau, you can substitute him for Samuel. Samuel or Beau work. You can also instead of Joshua, you can use Remy, Solomon, one of our twin boys, or Curtis. So really those kind of four will all work for this. The other cup, when I show you guys the cup done with the purples, that one is done with our twin boys, Remy and Solomon, and then Beau as our fine. So it's kind of versatile. But for this purposes, I'm going to use Joshua in this tutorial. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to jump off camera real quick. I'm going to sand this guy down with 320 grit. I'm going to spray paint him white for a base. And then I'm going to do a swirl spray paint around with the aqua colors to kind of match my inks. You will see what I mean when I come right back. All right, guys, let's get started. So here you can see what I mean by swirl around the inside. We have taken and done a very gentle slant with the spray paint, and then we've matched the color outside. So this is the colors to match the turquoise and the pistachio. It's not at a really drastic swirl around. We're not trying to make an S all the way around. We're just trying to make a little seam here across the tumbler as it goes. You can see there's a good chunk of white. That's what you actually want. You do want a good amount of white. So here we go. What I'm going to do is normally what you guys see me do at this stage now to add the glitter is to do the hang method. But with this tumbler, we are going to use spray adhesive. You can use any type of spray adhesive. It does not matter. We have Scotch Super 77. There is Krylon spray adhesive. There is Elmer's that has Elmer's spray and tack, I believe it's called. I can't think of the exact name. I just ran out the other day. We are in quarantine right now, so I have not been going to the craft store, so I don't have a fresh one. So you can use whatever you have laying around the house with the spray adhesive. And the reason we're doing this is so that we can quickly add 2 layers on top of each other. If you do this with the hang method, you need to wait hours and hours. And this one, we're not going to do that. We're going to add our second layer relatively quickly. So I'm going to put this right over my trash can or go outside in the fresh air where you have a lot of ventilation. I have a lot of ventilation where I'm working, so I'm just going to kind of hold it over my trash can and spray the entire cup with the spray adhesive. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, we've got this guy thoroughly coated. So we are going to take Joshua and we're going to tip him down. If you guys don't know the story of why all my glitters with our company is named with boy names, it's because I've got my triplet girls, and my whole life I wanted boys, and then God gave me triplet girls. So I always had boy names picked out, and I never got to use them. So now I've named all my glitters after boys. So we're just going and laying Joshua down right over the darker area and the lighter area. We're going to go out. We want this center area real chunky. If you get a little in the white, it's okay. Don't worry, no stress. All right, so that's our first layer of Joshua. We are going to pick him up and pour him out. Clean off parchment. And then in the leftover white space, Ooh, let me tap off Joshua over the side. Okay, in the leftover white space, we're going to go ahead and put bow. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Oh my gosh, these two glitters together are absolutely stunning. Loving it. All right, here we go. How gorgeous is that? Now this one's got a little contaminant because it's got a little bit of the Joshua in it. So I'm going to save this off to the side. I have a jar of bow that is contaminant. It's got a little bit of Remy and Solomon, our twin boys, in there. So I'm making a little jar of whoopsie doopsie glitters. What I'm going to do now is for this area, we're going to press it down just a little bit, not too much. We actually want it to kind of stand up. It's going to take a little bit more epoxy to cover this area, but that's what kind of makes it look cool because it makes it look 3D. You can see I'm pressing down real well along the edge here. That's going to help make it a lot easier to get a smooth edge along that bottom line. And same as up here. Run my finger along the top to knock off any rough glitters that are sticking up. And then press down firmly kind of around that front top edge. Again, this is just to help get a smooth edge when you go to epoxy, because this is a pretty chunky glitter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do another layer of spray adhesive right along the dark part and add a second coating of the dark. All right, here we go. All right, so we've got the second coating spray of the spray adhesive down. We're just going to add one more layer of Joshua. We only went over this middle part. We did not go over the section with bow. We have enough glitter with bow. We're just going for, like I said, the 3D-ish effect. You can see it gets a little bit more chunky. So we're going to tap that down just a touch, not heavily, just to make sure we get a good connection with the cup. Again, same thing. Run your finger along the bottom and tap the bottom edge. Make it a little easier to clean that bottom edge up. And same with the top. Run your finger along the top, knock off anything that's going to be sticking up, and press down anything that's going to stick up. Now, this adhesive takes about 3 hours for it to set nice and hard, so we're not going to jump in on our alcohol inks. If we were to add our alcohol inks right now, what would happen was these would actually start to bleed and melt and slide and move around the cup. If after about 3 hours, the spray adhesive will take effect and really hold it tight. So when we add the alcohol inks, it will stay in place. All right, so we will be back in just a few hours. All right, guys, here we go. Then we get to do the fun part. We're going to start adding the alcohol ink. First, we're going to start with turquoise, and then we're going to do the pool. This is when it starts taking form. Let's see, we'll start right off with a turquoise first. We're going to have a little jar of 91% alcohol. This is just a little bit off the side here. And I'm going to be using a sponge paintbrush. You can use the makeup brush or any kind of little dauber or whatever, just to basically absorb a little bit of the 91% alcohol and add it. So we are going to just dot this right down the center. It's pretty dark, so you don't need a lot. So we're just going to work our way around the little S curve that we've got going on here. And then we're going to take a little corner of this and we're just going to dab it onto those little drops that we applied there. And that's going to start letting that alcohol kind of bleed out just a little bit to the edges. Sorry guys, we live on a farm, so there's a tractor going by. It's either a triplet screaming or a tractor driving by, one or the other. Always happening here. Something's happening. You can see that we still keep that absolutely gorgeous shine from Joshua. Again, if you don't have access to Joshua, or you don't have Joshua, or he's sold out for some reason, you can use our color Curtis, Solomon, or Remy. I've done this in the Facebook group, and I've shown you guys using Solomon and Remy. I believe I've actually even done it with Curtis in the Facebook group. All right, so, and you can see it's starting to bleed because of the way I'm holding it. It's starting to bleed out the other way. So that's enough for the turquoise color. Now we're gonna add pool. But now we can see this pool has already started to, we've already started to kind of bleed out into the bow, and I don't wanna go too far, that much farther in. So I am going to actually drop this dropper, just 2 little drops, and I'm gonna hold this going the other way so it doesn't actually bleed into bow. It bleeds back towards the aqua. So we want it to kind of drip this way instead of this way. We don't really want it coming out this way. It's okay if it does, but our main goal is to keep it right along this edge. So now we're gonna do 1 little drop of pool up here. And same thing, get it hanging down towards the blue, and add the alcohol where it will go down instead of up onto the cup, into the bow. All right. All right, gorgeous. So now you've got the blue of the aqua and the pool. So we've got turquoise down the center, and we've got pool down the outside. And we're gonna do kind of the similar thing on this side. We're gonna drip pool and let him go down. Oh, sorry, this is pistachio, not pool. I read the pistachio. I'm sorry. This is green pistachio. I was gonna say, this doesn't look like pool. My brain, triplet mama brain. We just had a small little triplet situation where I went outside and found all my kids had 3 full cups, like this full cup of my glitter, all mixed together. They had found some glitter on the ground in my workshop that I had just packaged, and they dumped it into cups. And of course it wasn't matching glitter. It wasn't like a cup of bow. It was like 9 different colors all in one cup. So I was a little upset. And then they got mad at me. I didn't even hardly yell at them. I just told them it wasn't nice that they touched mommy's things. And then they were yelling at me. They told me that I was in the wrong for taking their glitter. My girls and their glitter. They love their glitter. They're just like their mama. All right, so you can see what we're doing is we're just using the 91% alcohol to kind of dilute it and help it kind of get running it into the blend of that beautiful turquoise in the middle. So I'm gonna now set this cup and let it kind of hang this way so that, because if I put it up on end, that is gonna bleed down in and we're gonna end up with covering all of our bow, but we don't wanna do that. So we're gonna let the cup sit just like this and let it dry, and then we will be back and we will start the next step. All right, guys, so we're now at the point where we're gonna start adding the gold leaf. We're gonna use triple thick. This is Deco Art Americana. We are gonna just use a little silicone stir stick here. I always pour the triple thick in the lid. That way I don't contaminate the rest of the jar. You can use a paintbrush here. It doesn't really matter. Just kind of, and it doesn't even matter what kind of adhesive you use. You can use anything. You could even use Elmer's glue. Gold leafing is very forgiving. We're just gonna go right along the outside edge here and make our line with our adhesive. Then we're gonna take our gold leafing and just slowly tear off pieces and dab them on there. Gold leaf tears so easy. Just kind of let it just grab on and do its thing. It's not meant to look perfect. This is where you don't want to try to have OCD. Just get it on, smush it, crunch it up. You want to be more natural looking, like the edge of the earth. So kind of rumpled, it's pretty. Just like that. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Get a little bit more. We got one little last blob of glue right there. Sometimes it's a personal preference of whether you want your gold leaf thick or you want your gold leaf to be a thin line. I'm going to show you a couple different versions of it. If you don't have gold leafing, we have a glitter called Helios in our collection. It is a bright, very shiny gold. It works beautifully for this. I will do a cup with that as well and show you guys that at the end of the tutorial, so you can see the comparison between using gold leafing and using glitter. It's very similar, so don't stress out. If I know we're all in quarantine right now, you might even be watching this video months and months later when we're not in quarantine, but currently we are in quarantine and trying to use the supplies that we have at home. So if you, like I said, you can use any adhesive, and we are still shipping out products. So if you need the gold glitter, we have it available for you. But if you have the gold leafing, because maybe you were part of our swag bags and received it in your swag bag, this is one of the fun little crafts you can do using that gold leafing. It's like a whole sheet, and it's very, very thin, and I'm just taking little pieces off and working with those little pieces and putting them right down on that stick of that triple thick. So this is the triple thick from the jar. This is not the triple thick that you spare. This is not the spray paint triple thick. We go. So very important key that you want to remember here is that you don't want to spray paint this with a flat matte clear gloss at the end. We are going to go through, I'm going to show you how to seal this glitter, this gold leaf in, so it doesn't travel around the cup when we put epoxy on it. But you don't want to use a lot of our cups, we use matte finish spray paint. You don't want to do that on this gold leafing, because the problem is that will cause an issue. It will go matte finish color and it won't come back. So you will have an issue with the gold leafing going matte finish color, and then it'll lose its shine and gloss, and you won't be able to get it back to being shiny. So you want to use a UV resin, and I will show you how to do that in the next step. So we're going to go ahead and keep on just adding this. We're almost done with this line. I'm going to finish up this other section, and then we're going to do a round with Helios, and we will be right back. All right, so now we have Helios. He is our gold glitter that we have in supply. Just go to our website, LittleLeeandRose.com, and search Helios. He's a beautiful gold, gold, gold. So if you don't have gold leafing, he's a good option. And we are going to do the purple one. So this is our purple one. He bled a little bit. I added a little bit too much alcohol. He bled to the corner. That's fine. We're just going to play with it and go with it. So let's add this. So we're going to use the same thing, triple thick. Like I said, it's the Deco Art Americana triple thick in the jar. You can get it if you still have a Michael's in your area. I believe they are still doing curbside pickup. We are just going to add this glue and add the Helios as we go. And so this is going to be right along the edge of our little fault line, is what we're calling it. Got a little string there. So you'll see this is kind of a similar look, but it's just going to be done in glitter. And this shows you the versatility. You can do this fault line and do multiple different colors. You can pick just your favorite colors. You can even use earth tones, the grays, blacks, blues, to do a beautiful like geode looking style. Would be gorgeous. Maybe we'll do that in the Facebook group and show you guys how to do that. It's all about your imagination and where you take this cup. We're going to go ahead and start adding it along the bottom. Again, I'm just applying it with a silicone stick that we have on our website. Not anything special. You can use a paintbrush. You could probably even add it with your finger, toothpick, popsicle stick, whatever. We're just getting the glue on there. We're not doing anything too fancy here. All right. Move that out of the way, and now we're gonna go ahead and sprinkle on our Helios. All right, so there's pretty. If you want it, you can pat it down, patting it down, and then sprinkle a little more. Gives it a more natural look, so you lose that line shape. So you see there, you start losing the shape of the hard line. Super fun. And you start kind of creating that open crack. Beautiful. I'm letting it fall down onto my parchment paper. That way I can catch it and we don't have any waste. Just add it right back to the bag. And I don't want to go too crazy on this edge and the bottom. We don't want to make it too hard to cover. But like I said, we do want a natural look. And there we go. So there's the beautiful fault line crack opening with, in this one is Remy and Solomon, the twin boys. These are their twin collection with Beau is the white, and then Helios is the gold. So we will get this going under epoxy. So what we'll do now is let that triple thick dry up really well on both cups. On the other cup, we will do the next step with the gold leafing. And then on this cup, we will just, again, let it dry and we will coat it with clear spray paint to get everything to hold in place so nothing travels and moves around on the cup. We want it to stay in place, and then we'll get them under epoxy. All right, guys, see you soon. All right, so we're now at this point where we are going to use UV resin in this project. And what we're using the UV resin is, if we do it with the gold flaking, you need to coat the gold flaking with the UV resin to keep the gold flaking in place. Because if you start epoxying over the top of this, that's going to start, like, little pieces of it are going to kind of come off of it and migrate around your tumbler. And we're going to spray this. So we're going to, basically what we're going to do is put UV epoxy over the top of the gold leaf, and we're gonna then set it out in the sun, or if you have a UV light, you can let it sit under the UV light. That's both options, and I have both available to me today. Today I'm probably just gonna put it out in full sunlight because it's beautiful and hot and sunny. So I will put it in the full sunlight and that will cure up. Then I will actually then go over with the matte spray paint, matte finish spray paint over the whole thing and to hold the glitter in place. Now, the reason I don't just matte finish spray paint the whole thing is because if you put matte finish spray paint on the gold flake, the gold leafing, it will go matte finish color and it does not come back. It does not go back to shiny after you put on epoxy. Like the glitter, you can put matte finish on, and when you put epoxy over it, it will go back to being sparkly, but the gold leaf does not. Now you can see here where a little bit of the ink ran a little bit. So what I did was I just reapplied some spray adhesive and did two more layers of bow in this area to kind of hide it. But I'm not too worried about it because we're going to put a decal over this and it will blend. Plus, I think it's kind of pretty. If you want to if that happens to you and you want to completely get rid of it, which I wasn't worried about it, because like I said, I kind of liked that it was just like a slow flow. You just can add a little bit of, like hold a rag and then maybe add a little burst of white spray paint or a little bit of white acrylic paint over there and then put another layer of bow. That way it'll completely hide any bits where the alcohol ink might have bled out. But like I said, I was okay with it. So I just did a little bit of more spray adhesive and added more bow. So we're going to do the UV resin really quick, lay this out in the sun, then we're going to let that, and that'll be all cured up, and then we'll do a coating of matte finish clear spray paint.
Hey guys, all right, we are back. We are ready to rock and roll. I've got my epoxy going. We've got the gold leaf done. What I did was I just took the LittleLee Rose UV resin and I applied just a tiny bit along the top of the gold leafing and I laid it out in the sun. I used my drying rack and just set it in a bright sunny sunshine spot and let it sit for a couple hours. If you have a UV light, this is the time you could also use it. So this is like a nail lamp light, and you can use that over the top if you don't want to put your cup outside. But I have beautiful bright sunshine out here on the farm, and so I thought I'd go that route today. So that is all cured up, and the reason, remember, we did that is so that the little bits of flakes of that don't float around the cup when I start epoxying it and they kind of start moving around the cup. They are now anchored in place under the UV resin. You can see that the ink bled out just a little bit underneath the bow. Now I'm going to leave it because I kind of like the way it looks. I think it kind of looks very, very natural. But if you want to avoid doing that, what you could then do is go back through and pat a little bit of white paint over the top, and then just re-add a layer of bow over the top. And then ultimately what I did when I got everything done is I put a spray paint coat of clear matte finish. After I did the UV resin, I did a full coat of spray paint, clear satin finish spray paint over everything to hold the glitter in place. Now we've got our epoxy ready to go over here. We are going to go ahead and pour it. We are using the LittleLee Rose Pouring Art Epoxy. I will put the link for all these below. So we have the UV resin and we have our Pouring Art resin. This is a very easy resin to use. You don't even need to use a torch on it. It's very, very bubble free. I actually have 2 cups going here to my left that are gorgeous, and they look like glass, and they didn't even need any torching whatsoever. Torching can actually cause a problem. So this is a very bubble-free epoxy. I'm mixing it right now in my LittleLee Rose tumbler epoxy mixer. It's got its own separate cup. You can see it's clear there. You can see it has barely any bubbles. If you guys, can you guys see down into the cup there? It has like maybe 3 or 4 bubbles. By the time you apply that and let it sit for about 5 minutes, all those bubbles come to the surface and release. So it is really like the easiest epoxy to work with. All right, we're going to get our turner going here.
All right, so pardon all the noise going on around me. Yes, we live on a farm and we're working with the workshop wide open today because it's pretty warm, and we have got this beautiful vinyl, but so we've got all the noises all going on all around us. You're gonna hear some birds and some of my turners going. They got other tutorials rolling, and we're just weeding out this beautiful holographic vinyl to put on this cup. I kind of matched, I like the blue against the aqua, so that's kind of why I picked this one. This file, if you like this gorgeous script, this file is actually in our Facebook group for free. Just go in to join us on our Facebook group and look for LittleLee and Rose tumblers and more. Join us, request to join, and then we have a whole bunch of free files for you that you can use with your Cricut or Silhouette, and this is one of them. It actually comes with a beautiful heart and arrow, but I am not going to use that on this tumbler today. I did use it on another one. Here we go. This is another one that I did. You can see the wild soul, and then it's got the cute little heart arrow on the bottom. So that file is available in our Facebook group for free to you guys. And I thought this would look beautiful just wrapped around this cup right inside the divide of the California fault line. So we are going to put some transfer tape down on it. If you have not had experience with transfer tape, it's very much like drawer liner. If you have not experienced it, I prefer this kind that doesn't have the lines on it. It is all preference. Some people like the lines, so it helps them line up the words. I just like this one because it was really cheap for just such a giant roll, and so I make it work. So you can see my transfer tape is clear with no lines. So what you do is you take it and you press it down. I use this handy dandy squeegee. You can use either side. We'll use the firm side and press down nice and firm. That's going to attach those words onto that vinyl. And then when you peel away, of course we used a difficult vinyl. The holographic vinyl is not as easy as some other vinyls. Doesn't want to stick as easily, so we might have to give it a little hand here. Help it stick down. The most difficult vinyl to work with is going to be your glitter vinyl. You want to use the Cricut transfer tape for that, but for most other vinyls, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to line this up to where it's about 1.5 inches away from the top and 1 inch away from the bottom. I'm angling it. And I'm going to lay it down in the middle and work my way out and down. And again, work my way up and around. And then I'm going to take the soft side of my squeegee and make sure that's really well pressed down to the cup. This cup has been sanded, washed, and cleaned before we added the vinyl, just to make sure it was nice and smooth. So what I do at that point is, what I did off camera that you didn't see was I took a light sanding to this part and around onto this part. I then washed it with Dawn soap and water and let it dry completely. And now we've added the beautiful words. There we go. And we're going to save that piece of transfer vinyl because we're about to do another cup. So this is gorgeous. It says Wild Soul, and it wraps around, and it's perfect because it's kind of like a Free Spirit cup. So we're going to get that on the turner. We're going to put some epoxy on that. And we are going to epoxy 2 at a time. We're actually going to work on we're going to do a double layer. We're going to do a layer of this, and then we're going to put the exact same label on this cup and roll through. All right, we'll see you guys soon. All right, we've had our epoxy mixing in our epoxy mixer. This is a LittleLee and Rose epoxy mixer. This is something I designed myself. It's really, really easy. I just put the epoxy in. I actually walked away. I've been doing some sewing projects, making some masks, because we're in the middle of COVID right now. So I'm actually completed a mask in the amount of time that this epoxy mixed. And now all I'm gonna do is take the pin out, clean it, And we're gonna get these cups all epoxied with the LittleLee and Rose Pouring Art Epoxy. This is part A and part B. Again, this is another one of our own products that we've developed. So we've been really busy over here at LittleLee and Rose. So we're gonna get these two turning at the same time simultaneously, and we're gonna get some epoxy on these, and we'll see you right back here.